Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is episode 4 of my journey towards my very first 50K. I am so excited you guys are tuning in and watching this. Today's episode is actually going to be a little bit on the short side because I did not really get any videos done this week at all that I want to post. So today I'm just going to kind of go over my training plan that happened this past week, what's coming up, and then I definitely going to hit a little bit about hydration and dehydration because summer's here. So let's start off with my training plan. Today is April the 28th, so I'm just finishing up week 30, which was a light week for me. I only had on the weekend, I only had a 6-mile run put in there. So during the week, I was trying to get in about like 3 more days of running, which didn't happen. So unfortunately, I only did 15.5 miles last week, which my goal is for at least for the next month or two to making sure I get an average of 20 miles a week in there. So whatever intervals, short runs, long runs, I'm trying to get the average of 20 in there. So the weekend before I did the 14-mile run. So Monday I kept it easy. I just went to the gym. I did 2 miles of hill on the treadmill. Like I said, just kind of kept it easy, wanted to loosen up my legs some, and then I did some weightlifting as well on that day. And then I think I did a little bit more because I'm trying to incorporate weightlifting in with my training plan as well. So I did that Tuesday. Tuesday was interval day. So I got those intervals in, which was really good. And my intervals actually really started increasing in speed. So they felt really good. So my running this past week overall is feeling good, which I'm totally excited about. You guys, for those who don't have asthma, you guys don't know how sucky it is to constantly be struggling to breathe. So I think I'm over that hump. Medication, I had to go back on my controlled daily steroid to kind of help with that. So it's this past week, actually, my runs were actually really great because then on Thursday, I did 4.5 miles in the gym and I only had about, I want to say, a half a mile of that beginning suckiness. And it was very mild. For those who don't run or who are interested in getting running or are not familiar with this, and I'm pretty sure there's a name to it, and I'm not quite sure what it is, but there's a section in the very first mile that is going to suck. It always sucks. It's like the craziest thing. Your body's warming up, your legs are stiff, you're breathing, your respiratory system's trying to get into a pattern, so there's like a little struggle going on. Sometimes it's stronger than others. Sometimes it lasts longer. I've never had one go over a mile at all. I think mine usually stop after like 3/4 of a mile. So for those newbies, beginners, when you start running, expect that and be okay with that because tell yourself you're gonna get through it and you're gonna get over that and onto a plateau and cruise then. So just remember that because I don't want that to discourage you from running because, like I said, it doesn't last long. Now, if you are hitting a mile and it's still feeling kind of sucky, kind of pay attention to your pace. You may need to slow it down, and it's totally okay to slow it down. Doesn't matter how fast you're going as long as you're out there trying and jogging. So if you're still struggling after a mile, slow it down a little bit and see what happens and see if it gets better. But anyways, I digress. So I went ahead and did 4.5 miles that day, and it felt kind of easy, so I think I can even up the pace even more so, which was kind of crazy. And then Saturday we did the 6 miles outside on my beloved Santa Fe Trail because when I do my 6-mile runs, I love doing it there because I know exactly where my mile markers are for the 6 miles. Because also the first 3 miles going out is a slightly incline, so it's a little bit more of a challenge, but coming back, it's all downhill, which is really awesome. And then this time, of course, wind's blowing. It's Colorado Springs. It's always windy here. I've noticed it's always windy here. Going out, of course, we were in a headwind going uphill, but as soon as we flipped around and was coming downhill, it was almost a breeze all the way back. So it actually turned out really well. Kept the same pace I did for the last couple times I did 6 miles. And I think the very first video I videotaped after my 6 mile, same section, pretty much exact same pace. So I am keeping it consistent, which is really awesome. And I actually felt like we're going a lot faster. So I actually think I'm getting more comfortable with the pace, and I think I can probably up it a little bit more, even more so, which is pretty awesome. So that's what happened this past week. This upcoming week, I think I'm only going to throw in 1 or 2 days, probably 2 days of running. Plus, I have a 16-mile run this upcoming weekend. So I am going to stick in my 2 days of running earlier in the week. And one's going to be intervals. One, I'm not quite sure if the weather cooperates because we're supposed to have a lot of spring rain this week, storms coming in, which include lightning. So on those days, I definitely won't be outside running in the lightning. But we'll see if it cooperates on a couple days. If it's nice enough, I may just stop by Red Rocks and do my 3 mile just for fun, just to go out and enjoy it and remember why I'm running, which is always important when you're training for something. We get so focused in on time, distance, how we're eating around it. It sometimes starts to feel like a chore, and I've noticed that I burn out when I do that, and I did that in Washington. So I definitely would like to try to get at least one run a week that's just for fun. I don't look at the watch, I just go out and enjoy it, and remember why I got into trail running to begin with. So that's what's coming up this week. I think I'll probably definitely do a little bit more weightlifting and core exercises this week, just to prepare to give myself some more energy for the running this weekend. I think it's Saturday I'll do the 16 miles. So that's what's coming up. Okay, summer is upon us. And actually, for some of you guys, summer may already be here. So let's go ahead and talk about hydration, dehydration, and water intake. So how much water do you need? Well, there is actually no set number to how much you need, because there are so many different factors that go into play in your hydration that there's no cookie cut answers. Now, if you Google water hydration, how much you need, you're going to find tons of articles out there, people throwing out numbers, telling you how much you need, giving you like a set amount. And then you're also going to have people out there arguing how those people are wrong and drinking too much water is going to kill you and you need to drink a lot less. Well, both are right, both are wrong. Yes, we need water. We are 60% water, so we definitely need that water for our body to function properly. However, if you do drink too much water, you can actually die from it. It's very rare, but it can happen. It's called hyponatremia. Now, for the day-to-day person, that's extremely rare. You know, for that to occur, you're going to probably need to be drinking like gallons upon gallons of water within a short time for that to happen. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. It's rare, but you know, I wouldn't be too concerned. I would be actually more concerned about dehydration. Some of the symptoms of dehydration is, most everyone knows, thirst. So that's the major one. So once you start getting thirsty, you're already dehydrated, you need to start drinking. Some other symptoms can include like dry eyes, dry mouth, muscle cramps, muscle spasms, headaches is a big one. Brain fogginess is what I call it, where you can't think clearly. That's another symptom. And if you start seeing these symptoms and you don't treat them, that can actually lead to heat stroke and heat exhaustion, which is a lot more dangerous than just dehydration. So making sure you stay on top of your hydration levels is definitely important. So that goes back to the question, how much water do you actually need? Well, I like to keep it simple for my clients, and I tell all my clients to do a pee test. Yes, pee test. Now, the pee test involves when you go to the bathroom, take a look at your urine. If it is the color of apple juice, then you need to start drinking some more water. If it's completely clear, you can't even tell you peed in the toilet, then you need to back off some. I usually tell people to shoot for a light yellow tint, and that will keep them in a good range of hydration. But like I said, factors go into play. So i.e., I mentioned summer's coming up. With the heat goes up, you're going to need more water. So definitely pay attention to the pee test, pay attention to your hydration level, making sure you get enough water for the summer. Now, one of the reasons I brought this up is because we are talking about running a 50K. Now, your long distance runners, your triathlons, any race that involves more than an hour of exercise is definitely going to need to focus on hydration. Now, hydration is actually one of the most important factors to human performance, because they're showing that even a 2% drop in water weight can actually have a 10% drop in your performance. So again, water hydration definitely important. Now, I mentioned hyponatremia before and how it's extremely rare for your day-to-day person to get it, but it occurs. Now, it occurs more actually within the endurance community. Again, it's still rare, but it occurs more. Like back in 2003, after the Boston Marathon, there were 2 runners actually passed away from hyponatremia. Now, how people wonder, like, how you gonna get hyponatremia, and when you're drinking, you're sweating a lot, you're replacing the water. How does that happen? Well, as you're sweating, you're getting rid of all your electrolytes, your sodium, your potassium, your calcium, your magnesium, everything that goes into play for balancing your water, for your balancing the water and the muscle function. So you're getting rid of that as you're sweating, and you're drinking in the water, which is great, but you're not replenishing all those electrolytes, and so that causes the imbalance, which leads to the hyponatremia. So 2 things. One, how much water you need when you're exercising. Well, they have what's called the sweat test. So the sweat test is, if you're going to be out there more than an hour, which I mentioned before, this is something we're going to start testing for me to see, making sure I stay on top of it, because we don't think I'm getting enough water when I'm running. We're going to weigh myself right beforehand and then keep track of how much water I'm intaking during the run, and then weigh myself right afterwards. So the sweat rate, to determine how much you're actually sweating, what you do is you take the weight that you are beforehand, subtract the weight that you're afterwards, and then you add the weight of the water that you took in. So if you're in a big deficit, you definitely need more water. If you're weighing to the positive, you're drinking too much water and maybe not getting enough electrolytes in there. So that is the hydration for running. What we're going to do for my running, and that's the sweat rate. So electrolytes, definitely important, especially in the summertime. I don't really use electrolytes when I'm working out in the gym. There's been a couple times I've done a half a dose after I ran in the gym because the heater was on and I was sweating like crazy for an hour. And I sweat very easily, and if I'm sweating profusely within an hour, I know I need to kind of replenish some electrolytes, so I'll take like a half a dose. But if you're doing usually within an hour, you really don't have to worry much about electrolytes, because as long as you're eating an overall healthy meal, healthy diet, you're going to get all those electrolytes in your foods anyway. So, but for your longer times that you're going to be out there sweating, being out in the heat longer, they're definitely important. Now, this may not come out because I think this is kind of come out backwards, but I use Hammer products for my Endurolites for electrolytes. Now, like I mentioned before, you have the Tailwind that a lot of people love that already has electrolytes in it as well. I like to use these because it's just simple. It's a pill, pop it in, then I can just drink water as I need. So that definitely is a great way to replenish your electrolytes. And I think that's all I actually wanted to go over. I kind of went over it really quick. If you have questions, if I missed something, I'll definitely add to another video. But like I said, if you have questions, list them below, and I will definitely get back to you and answer those questions for you. So like I said, some of our plans, especially for the 16 miles that's coming up, we're definitely going to weigh myself beforehand, making sure, and then weigh me afterwards, making sure I get enough water in there. Last time I think I drank a lot more water, and I noticed a difference. So we're definitely going to stay on track of that, on top of that, because that definitely, I believe, played into struggling with my running. So that's what's coming up. I'll definitely go over that after I do the 16-mile run and let you know what happened on that one. Other than that, if you guys like this video, please click like. If you want to follow the rest of these videos on my way to my very first 50K, please click on the subscribe button. And like I said, if you have any questions, list it below. And of course, today, make sure you guys do at least one thing that gets you one step closer to one of your goals. So, all right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.